Kingmaker, Representative Steve King of Iowa, and Representative Louie Gohmert of Texas. Great to have you guys aboard. Thanks aboard, so to speak, on this crazy rocky ship that we're going through.
Good to be with you and Steve.
Financial storm. Representative King, let me start with you very quickly. The census came out today saying 15.1% of America is now living under the poverty level, living under poverty. What in the world is going right with Obamonomics, sir?
Well, what we're trying to do now is recover from Obamonomics. His economic stimulus plan, the trillions that have been spent, it puts an interest and a principal burden on current and future taxpayers to service that debt. If we look back at what the New Deal was in the 30s, it took us a long time to recover from that. The stock market didn't get back from the 29 crash until 1954. If you spend money in Keynesian economics, it might be a temporary little fix for a very short period and diminish the depths to which we might otherwise fall. But the end result is it extends the recovery process, and you have to recover from your own action. It's kind of like applying leeches to somebody that's sick. It tends to make them a little anemic, and that's what we are.
Right, and Congressman Gohmert, it's not just, the black community of all groups is being hit the hardest. 16.7% unemployment. If you're a teenager, you're close to 50% you're unemployed. This doesn't seem to be working for anybody across any group.
No, it's just unconscionable, but it's consistent with what this president has done. He says he's going after fat cats on Wall Street, and they make more money than any time in their history. He says he's going after the big corporations, and yet you can see in this bill, he goes after a lot more than corporations. The corporations are going to love this bill, the big ones especially. But the unemployment numbers may help tell us why. His definition of billionaire, ultra-rich, is now on page 135 of his bill. If you make $125,000, you're a billionaire, you're ultra-rich, you're going to get hammered on your deductions. The only way that you can get any relief from that is if you get divorced. If you get divorced,
hey, Congressman,
you can make up to $200,000.
Can I clarify for my audience? That's the bill, that's the American Jobs Act that Mr. Obama is recommending?
Wait a minute. No, Eric, I think the name properly is Save Obama's Jobs Bill.
Okay, very good. Save Obama's Jobs Bill, but you're holding it right there and you're paging through it. By the way, there's no mention of how he's going to pay for all those spending initiatives in there, is there?
Now, Eric, that's not fair. You look at page 150, well, let's see, it's 155. Here is the true pay for. Now, he does raise some taxes, and he hits people where it hurts and goes after a lot of things that we hold dear, but there's lots more government. If you like Fannie and Freddie, we've got a new federal infrastructure financing federal government sector. But here's the real pay for: the increased target for Joint Select Committee. The debt ceiling bill that Steve and I strongly opposed said we'll have this super committee come up with $1.5 trillion in cuts by the end of the year. Here's the pay for. We increase 1.5, they find, in cuts to 1.95. There's the pay for.
Right. So Congressman King, what about it? There it is, in a nutshell. I'll deal with that later. In fact, I'll give the super committee that job of finding $2 trillion in cuts, sir. What happens if this bill, when it goes to the House vote, you have the majority? Are the Republicans in the House going to say, no, thank you, we don't want this bill? What's the process? Let us know.
Well, Republicans aren't going to support this bill in its current form, and I want to congratulate my friend Louie Gohmert for sitting up and reading this bill and getting down. I hope you started at the back instead of the front, Louie, because the back is where it says what the president said in his speech, which is, this is paid for. He said 3 times in the speech, this is paid for, but what we learned is it's paid for when Congress figures out how to pay for the president's bill, and that's put it in this cage match situation that we have coming up in October and November. This is a wrong way to do legislation, and the president just pounced on this and exacerbated the problem, and now he tosses. It's like tossing a cat in the kennel and wondering what's going to happen. There's going to be a fight, and in the end, Republicans won't support the president's proposal, and he will campaign for re-election on Republicans, what he will say, failure to pass his jobs bill. So I think this whole approach is Keynesian, and it's wrong.
Help us out for us laymen out here trying to figure this out. Speaker Boehner says we'll take pieces of it and we'll vote on it piecemeal, yet David Axelrod from the White House says, no, this isn't a buffet. You can't pick and choose what you want. This is a bill. It's a package. It goes to the House floor. What do you guys do? How do you hammer out the big differences? And what we hear over the next couple of weeks?
Well, hopefully it'll come through committee in the appropriate way, and there will be amendments offered in committee. And if it passes out of committee, which is a doubtful thing, then it goes to the Rules Committee, and there will be an opportunity to select some amendments that will be important to be debated and voted up or down on the House floor, and then a final passage. From my standpoint, it comes with completely the wrong philosophy. You don't go out there and pay people not to work and think it stimulates the economy. You don't hand people more food stamps and think it stimulates the economy. That's the FDR, Keynesian, Obama economics approach. We've got to produce goods and services that have a marketable value domestically and abroad. We do that, this economy grows. If we don't, we can never recover from what's going on.
Congressman Gohmert, that bill you're holding right now sounds a lot like the debt ceiling negotiation when Mr. Obama came to Mr. Boehner and said, here's the deal. It sounds a lot like what you're holding right there. That was turned down. What's to make us think that one that you're holding will pass?
There's stuff he put in his 2010 budget that was panned by both the House and Senate. Democrats didn't like it either. There were things, if you love the crap and trade bill, you're going to love some of the stuff in here. He's got some of it in here that forces independent oil makers or producers basically out of business, dries up their capital, dries up all those jobs. There is good news for plaintiffs' lawyers. There is a new protected class. Seriously, there's a new protected class. It's not race, creed, color, national origin, not even sexual orientation. It's unemployed. If you're unemployed and somebody doesn't hire you, you can file a claim for them refusing to hire you because you're in the protected class of the unemployed. Plaintiffs' lawyers are going to be tickled to death. Right. And this is for you, Eric. If you don't feel like the FCC has enough control over the airwaves, we create the Public Safety Broadband Corporation, because everything seems to be going to broadband. So it wasn't just about selling spectrum. He's got a new corporation, right. But don't worry, it's nonprofit government.
You know what?
They will control the broadband for you.
I got to tell you, yeah. I'm thrilled that you two are holding that bill in your hand, going through it line by line. We really appreciate it, because nowhere else are you going to hear this kind of analysis. Appreciate it very much. Congressman Louie Gohmert and Congressman Steve King, thank you guys so much.